And big news now coming in with an exclusive interview of External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar speaking to India Today's news director Rahul Kanwal. This is with regard to direct jibes against specifically the Nehru-Gandhi family. In this big exclusive, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar says in a hard-hitting retort to the Congress party and the Nehru-Gandhi dynasty politics. Now, accused by Congress of Nehruvian plum positions, Jaishankar has said that we're in government service. We're not in the service of any family. Those who serve a family think everyone serves a family and does politics for a family. Jaishankar has basically stated here while speaking to Rahul Kanwal that I have earned my position. I did not just serve a family. I have worked, and we all work for the government of India, not for a family. Those who continue to work for a family think everyone works for a family. Basically, he's been accused by the Congress party itself of getting these plum position, Nehruvian plum position that they have charged at Jaishankar for. But he says, I was always in government service. As remember, he was a bureaucrat earlier before Jaishankar became the Foreign Affairs Minister. He was also a bureaucrat for a very long time in the Foreign Ministry, and therefore he says, I was always in government service, not in the service of any family. Those who think they serve a family think everyone does a family, but that's not true. So listen in to this big exclusive.
So speaking of Nehru, you would have seen how you've come under personal attack from a lot of contemporary Nehruvians like Jairam Ramesh or a P. Chidambaram who accuse you. They acknowledge your intellectual pedigree but accuse you of intellectual dishonesty, saying you used to dance around Nehruvians for plum postings back in your day. You've seen those kind of personal attacks coming your way, saying that you're doing a lot just to appease those you serve right now. How do you respond to these personal charges, Minister?
It's very difficult to people who themselves danced around that people like me passed an exam, joined a government. Surely it cannot be anybody's case that postings in the government were all done for political reasons. I mean, for a large part of our careers, I assume nobody in politics really knew who we people were. So I think this is in a way to be expected, at least from some of these people. I'm being questioning. To my mind, nations grow by being questioning. I mean, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I think it will be, to me, perfectly legitimate. Somebody will question this era and say maybe, choices which were made by the people who today are in government could have been better. These were alternatives. I think that's really how polities evolve. Let us worship that era. Nothing could have gone wrong. Questioning it is somehow heresy of some kind. You have now elevated foreign policy to some kind of theology. For me, what were the early choices on Pakistan? What was our early reading of China? What was our early approach to the United States? Three very important relationships which are still crucial today. I am making the point, even at that time, there were people who put forward certain alternatives. By the way, I'm not even saying who's right and who's wrong. But I think people of this era should know that there were alternatives. Because what has happened is, due to this kind of worshipping attitude, we've all brought up to believe, Indian foreign policy was some kind of great wisdom. That was the only thing, it unfolded. There could have been no other choice than the ones we did. If we didn't succeed somewhere, the world was at fault. We were never at fault. We didn't misread China. They betrayed us. I mean, there's a whole cover-up narrative in many ways. I have no problem if somebody tells me, by the way, what you said about Nehru, or need not be Nehru, could be somebody else also. We disagree. What you are saying on this point is wrong. Okay, counter me factually. When you start telling people who have been part of a system that as though there was some great doling out of favors. I mean, there's a certain amount of self-conviction here, as though they were doling out postings. I think most people who have worked in the government would prefer to think that they earned their postings and that we worked for the government of India. We did not work for a family. But those who work for a family apparently still think everybody else worked for a family.
All right, so that's a big exclusive, and you can watch the whole interview at 8 p.m. tonight, only on India Today television. A lot of significant quotes by the External Affairs Minister, never seen and heard before, the manner in which he clearly gives retort one after another, but more. But at this point, when he's charged directly at the Nehru-Gandhi family, joining me on the phone line is TMC's Mr. Majid Memon. Mr. Memon, good morning. What do you say to External Affairs Minister? He's basically also charging back at the Congress party that he had plum positions earlier, now has become a mantri, but he says, I was always in government service, not in the service of a Gandhi family. Mr. Memon, can you hear me? All right, Mr. Majid Memon continues to be with us on the phone line, and I'll just go across to him in a short while. You're looking at an excerpt of the interview, a big exclusive, an interaction. This is Jab We Met with Rahul Kanwal, who's spoken to External Affairs Minister on a Delhi winter morning, where very significantly the External Affairs Minister has gone all out and opened up his heart about not only the charges against him, but about the foreign policy and how his life has been from a bureaucrat to the Foreign Affairs Minister. Mr. Majid Memon continues to be with us. Mr. Memon, if you can hear me now, when the External Affairs Minister, Jaishankar, says that, don't attack me for getting this position, I've earned it. I was always in government service, never in the service of a family. Those who are in the service of a family think everyone is. What do you say to that, sir?
See, firstly, I must say with respect to the Honorable External Affairs Minister that when we are dealing with India's interests in matters internationally, we should not bring local politics into that. See, where is the question of Nehruvian Congress, to be brought into discussion for one way or the other? It is the interest of the people of this country which you have to take care of. Your government's policy, your prime minister's or your boss's direction as to how the external affairs ministry would deal with the issues before it has to be independent of local politics. You see, BJP unfortunately is only looking for opportunities to somehow attack Congress. You see, that may be within the country absolutely acceptable. Because of you have to contest election, you have to continue with the democratic way of working. But outside country, when we deal with any other country or in the interest of the country, India, then we should not bring in politics. Rather, the priority has to be the interest of every individual Indian citizen and the country.
I appreciate you joining us, Mr. Majid Memon, for your view. He's saying don't bring in internal politics when it comes to the issues which are global in nature. Let's hear it then from a BJP leader. R.P. Singh joining me for the latest on this. With External Affairs Minister charging at the Nehru-Gandhi family, saying, I was always in government service. Why this constant targeting against me that I've got a plum position? I've earned it. He's basically stating that we work for Government of India. Some work for only the Nehru-Gandhi family.
Well, he's very right when he says that the earlier government used to look for people who would only work for the family, who would only go with the government, the family dictate, and who will only appreciate whatever the family does. But there are government policies which has to be seen in perspective. I mean, whatever happened in Nehru era or Indira era should be seen in perspective, and then should be even measured in perspective, like were they right or wrong, whether the non-alignment was right or wrong, whether the Nehru's leaning toward China was right or wrong, whether giving away the parcel of land to Pakistan was right or wrong, whether when we had 77,000 soldiers with us and still we didn't bargain well with the Pakistan, was it right or wrong? So these are policies which need to be assessed and discussed.
But R.P. Singh, I was just speaking to Mr. Majid Memon, who's from the TMC, earlier was with the NCP, and he says, why bring in the internal issues of politics and otherwise of the country when you're cleared a foreign minister talking about a foreign policy of the country or foreign global issues? Why drag in the internal political issues here?
Well, it's not dragging internal political issues. It's basically trying to learn from whatever mistakes we have committed and whatever can be rectified in future. So it's basically that. And if there is some mistake being committed, whether it's Pakistan, like for example, the new policy is that terror and talk won't go together. So this was not earlier. I mean, we kept talking to Pakistan in spite of the fact that they kept sending terrorists in our country. Now, this policy can be right or wrong, will be assessed by coming generations. But yes, whatever they did need to be assessed, and then the path need to be rectified.
Thank you so much, RP Singh. So BJP is saying that there's nothing wrong in what he has said. This is basically just referring to how you're working for the nation, while the opposition leaders are stating that this is just dragging internal bickering on the country, when as you should be tackling instead global issues, border issues better. You can watch this whole interview at 8 p.m. tonight on India Today. And I guarantee, I promise you, there are a lot of quotable quotes that the External Affairs Minister has said. He's, of course, known for his viral clips, and you won't want to miss this interview coming up at 8 p.m.